up, guys? Here with Crew 42 into episode 10, and we are off to the races into Battle Creek, Michigan, where we will be playing a very popular course in the area called Begg Park. And like always, I have the phenomenal Donut as my commentator today. How you doing, Donut?
Hey, what's up, guys?
So really stoked to play this card today. Really enjoyed this course. Last year I played it, but I didn't do so well, so it's kind of a chance for me to do a little bit of redemption. We got a full five here with Patsy, Jacob, Neil, Richard, and myself hitting the course today. And we start off with a doozy in hole one, 630 feet, big giant bomb. OB on the left on the road, OB right in the path there with that sidewalk. Just a monster hole. You really just want to get it as far down the fairway in your first shot as possible.
Yeah, and then these other four people have played this course quite a bit. They're from Battle Creek, from what I understand.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of them play league here, or I think Neil does, I think Richard does. I'm not sure if Jacob has.
At the very least, it's their local course, though.
Yeah, I think they have. They have a bit of an advantage on me today, but it's just a crazy hole. It takes a big arm to get there, and two, definitely a par 4, especially for like AM3 players like myself. And Neil leading things off for us, and not a bad rip from him.
Turned that one over a little bit more than he wanted to. Oh, it came back. He's all right behind that tree. We'll see about a second look.
And a solid forehand, staying low, a little skip back into the center of the fairway.
Yeah, she got a ton of distance off that at the end there.
And Jacob I played with before in a tournament. I can't remember which one, but I've seen him around. And that was just a low rip, and I had not warmed up, and I'm not even wearing my disc golf shoes. I'm just giving out excuses, anything I can do right now to...
Yeah, pretty much just faced it.
Yeah.
Hopped up in the air.
It was embarrassing. And Richard, who was not planning on playing with us today, decides to just show everyone exactly what you're supposed to do here.
Holy cow, what a shot.
Yeah,
Richard.
Well done. Well done. So second one, keeping it just in front of the tree or trying to get around it maybe. And
yeah, I think she tried to hook around and just didn't put quite enough power on there.
So here's my drop, and I was just trying to get as far out there as possible, my second shot.
That's a good looking rip from you, all the way towards the basket. Maybe a long jump putt.
Yeah, hoping to save the 4, no worse than a 5. And Jacob trying to really rip that forehand out there and just gets caught up in the very left side of that tree. Trying to get around there and get a roll. Yep, and at least the roll put her outside of the tree, so hopefully she'll have a straight shot from there.
Especially from a forehand player there, you really want to be on the right side. Your forehand pretty much makes that tree completely out of play.
Jacob actually outthrows this one. Nice backhand from him. He's actually stuck in a ditch, so his footing was also compromised. And this is such a bomb. Richard just throwing his second here. 200 and probably no more than 250 out from the pin. Just a great rip from him. And he kept his a little outside. I think he wanted that to hyzer around a little bit more.
A little short on the approach there from Patsy, but really straight at the basket. Good shot.
And we missed Neil's second shot here, but I think he stayed just inbounds. He might have been just out of bounds.
He was in bounds by about 5 pieces of grass.
Hey, that's enough. And I should not have taken a run at this for how unwarmed up I was. I just threw it in the air.
Yeah, you just faced it again, just like the drive.
Yeah, and that's a great putt.
Wow. Good. Banging it in from way outside.
Solid start from the putting green there. We got 2 for 2.
Holy cow.
All right, so apparently everyone can putt at least. And just a hair low there, but that was for birdie. That's a tough 3 to get. And I'm starting off with cage, so normal.
At least you put it towards the basket on that one, not straight up in the air. There's nothing wrong with that.
Neil finishes his off nicely. And Richard cleaning up his shot. Roughly the same spot. And so here's our first hole scores. Patsy with the 5, Jacob, Neil, and Richard with 4s, and myself with the double bogey 6. So a little unfortunate on the start. Off into hole 2 now, 490 feet. This is also a really, the hole, even though it's downhill, plays really big just because these trees right here, these guardians, really prevent you from kind of like ripping at the basket. Like you can, if you get sneak through it, you can attack the basket, but it is difficult to get through them.
Yeah, these lines for those first Guardians are deceptively skinny, and really with your drive, you're just trying to put it out in space into the fairway so you can go up and down for par.
Yeah, I think players with really, really big arms that can really hyzer up and over this might have a chance of, getting that birdie run, but they'd have to have a crazy, crazy arm to get there.
It's not that far downhill. 490 is still a big number.
Yeah.
Even for some of our really good players.
And Jacob is trying to sneak through, and he just cranked over on this one. He's headed towards that garbage can.
Yeah, he's mostly a forehand player from what I understand, and he definitely has a backhand. He's got a lot of power, but not quite as much control.
And Patsy with a disc that turnover, but turns into a roller and gets caught up right next to one of those guardian trees. So hopefully she'll have a...
If she's on the forehand side of that tree, she should be fine.
Yep, hopefully that'll work out. Richard here also gets over on his disc a little bit, and there was a little bit of wind. You can see the trees moving a little bit. But
yeah, we've got a headwind on this hole, but it's not quite gusting, but it's just enough to turn your disc a little bit. It's not going to carry it at all.
And we're all getting caught up in those first layer of trees there. And I thought I got past it.
It looked like a bomb, but then that wind just kind of gives you a little bit of angle. Yep. It didn't push your disc anywhere, but your disc carried into the tree.
So Patsy's trying to get her first shot out there. She's out in the fairway now. Neil's following her. And good rip, but I think he got over on this one a little bit. Made it go right. You can see his reaction there. I think he wanted that to hyzer back.
Yeah, pretty good distance on that, but not quite what he wanted. You're going a little more overstable on this, just trying to make a correction from the others.
Yeah, and I was surprised in how far away it was. So I threw a putter there, and I thought I was comfortably within my putter range, and I still threw it, but it wasn't even close. I picked the wrong disc there. And
yeah, this 490 is kind of a strange number for this hole because it really looks like it's in the mid 300s range, right. And then all of a sudden, and it's downhill, so you're like, man, I don't think it's really that far. And then after 2 shots, you still have 100 feet, and you kind of go, where did the distance go?
Yeah,
strange hole.
And Jacob actually there with a phenomenal forehand there. He's showing off his strength there and got it all the way up to the hole. He skipped up and should have a good opportunity for his 3 par save. And I'm just pitching up, giving a half run there. And Neil also deceptively far away. He's out wide right. That's a good run.
I thought she was banging that one in too.
How she putted that first hole, I thought she was too. And on the pro side from Richard, but it kisses and stays out of the basket. So unfortunate for him as we start wrapping up our putts here. Thankfully, we didn't throw Neil off, excuse me. So just cleaning up our putts here. And so for the second hole, Patsy with the 5, Jacob with the really nice 3 save, Neil and myself with a 4, and Richard also with an unlucky 5 there, that putt that kissed on the pro side. Hole 3, we come into 335, and boy oh boy is this hole dangerous. Even though it feels like 335 should be a hole you can attack and really get aggressive with, the whole right side is laced with this little creek. And you don't usually lose the disc if it goes in there, but it's really, really easy for your disc to get in there. And it's just all over this hole. It kind of sits on this little mini island, so you got to get across this bridge to get there. And it's all sorts of crazy. If you attack it, you can get hurt for A, and there's Udona sitting on the side.
Yeah, I got that little pole they set by the bridge so you can get your disc back after it goes into the water. Pretty useful little tool.
Jacob here looks like he pulled that one over to the right again. So back-to-back drives, backhand, that just goes far right for him. And after my abysmal start to this course, I just wanted to get it up towards the basket, get it pin high. If it's on the left side, that's fine.
Yeah, you have to be so aggressive to even look at a 2 on this hole. And then you have a really scary putt that's probably going to go in the water if you miss.
Right.
Even if you hit metal on this hole, it can roll into the water.
Yep.
It's so close.
Yeah. Circles that you're either bullseye or outside the circle. There's really not many spots in this green where you're inside circle and not in the bullseye.
Yeah, that Y fork right next to the basket just sets up such an awful approach. There's going to be a lot of layups on this hole, just putting it to the island so you don't bounce off metal.
So Jacob's taking his drop, and I'm trying to get up there to the basket to see if it goes in the water to let people know. And I just let him know it's safe. He's like, just letting you know it's safe. It didn't hit. I'm safe. It didn't hit me.
Oh, she's attacking.
Yeah, she's going right for the green here, and she throws it just a hair short. I had to go over to the side, and she landed dead center of that little creek there, and she goes OB. And Neil's far left. He's trying to also get aggressive, and he goes on the left side. There's that one little patch that puts you inside the circle, but not bullseye, and he landed dead center of it.
That's a nice looking layup. I'm not sure if that maybe a mini attack, but really a layup.
Yeah, I mean he knows the course really well, and okay, sure.
What?
Wow. Okay, whatever. She's just showing everyone how to putt, but he's clearly is a local player. He's using the course to his advantage, and no. Oh, he hits another OB there as it goes underneath the bridge, and I just make the layup here. But yeah, I mean Richard knows this course really well, so he understands that this little wall in the background, if you attack it, it'll keep you safe every time. So. And Neil overthrows his, puts it on the other side of it. You can see it land in.
Yeah, he had a lot of brush on the right side of his throw, so he tried to just attack a little corner of it. And just didn't quite make it.
So Richard and I walk away with a couple threes. Super stoked about that. And Jacob here taking his drop on top of the bridge. And really unlucky. Double circle 6 from Jacob. Patsy with a beautiful force save across the creek. That was incredible to watch. But Richard and I saving our threes, so excited, stoked about it.
She should play the whole round with that putter.
Yeah, she should. Hole 4 now, 280 feet. This is kind of an island hole, depending on how the tournament wants to play, but casually, just the roads are usually river, but you can play it as an island, but a little uphill, so you got to play it closer to 310, 300, and pretty standard hyzer. The only thing that's in your way is that power cable or the sign, which is right there, and from the one time I played this course from experience, it is there. I've hit it before. Thought I split my disc in half.
He's going up over the top trying to hyzer bomb that in.
And he was probably going to go OB there. He was a little too tight, but that tree knocked him straight down, kept him inbound, so he's safe.
A little short and a little tight.
And, when I threw that, everyone in the group kind of looked at me and was like, no, this is going to be fine. I was like, no, I'm turning around because I loved that shot.
Yeah.
That felt great out of the hand. I knew where that was going.
It was a walk-off homer.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, sure. Absolutely. And
that over the road?
It's not. She lands on the road, but the roll back puts her back in bounds by about 3 inches.
Nothing wrong.
And here's Neil, and just a touch harder, I think he needed to get that disc over, so he's looking for it to crash down. Doesn't get it over quite enough. Here comes Jacob's shot. And Jacob goes 3 for 3 now, over, turning his disc over, going right side. So,
he needs a little more control on that backhand. His forehand shots look awesome.
Yeah, he becomes very dangerous. I think an easy AM2 player, if he gets that backhand as consistent as his front forehand. And he trying to go up and over the hill, and that's a tricky shot because you got to slow the disc down so it doesn't go flying past the basket. And
you don't want to hit that car driving past.
Yeah, that's right. We don't need them to stop. So Neil trying to lay it up there from the OB, and Richard actually did something I haven't seen a lot of players do, but he usually from outside circle will do a forehand putt. So this actually fit his repertoire really well.
Yeah, very strange approach. He does that a lot. I'm not entirely sure why. He doesn't run at the basket. It's just his layup shot. Yeah. He must just find it very consistent.
Oh my goodness, and she does it again. She's just smashing putts from 30, 35 the whole day. Sure. I mean, that will lead you to a pretty good round, right?
Yeah. How far was that putt on hole 3?
I would have said 40
range?
40 to 50, absolutely.
Holy cow.
The space between the creek was 30 feet, so 10 feet to the basket. I would have said, 45-ish, yep. So I got the first deuce, so I got a birdie, making a little recovery there after this horrible start for me, but Jacob and Neil with the 4s, Patsy and Richard with the 3s. As we head into hole 5, now we're taking the left path here. There is a bush right there in the middle with the cables going to the right. A lot of players will take the hyzer out to the right side. 300 feet, it's pretty much stable. You play it like it's flat. distance-wise. So you just throw out the hyzer on the right side, let the disc come back, use the hill to either give a soft skip or just use the hill to stop yourself, and hopefully don't go down the hill.
Tee on this hole is a little strange. This is the only non-padded tee on the course. It's actually part of like a driveway or like a parking lot almost.
Yep.
And it's drawn in. All the other tees on this course have pads.
Yep. But it works, and they're using the
nice and flat, nice and clean.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with it, no cracks.
I am thankful for that. Sometimes you get those like sidewalk or road tees, and it can be just really abysmal, but this one's I'm okay with. And both myself and I think it was Richard there went a little too close to that tree. And Patsy taking the forehand, which is a little more risky, especially considering the hill slopes from left to right down, but she's safe and past the tree.
She's very much a forehand player from range, though.
Yeah, she is. She uses that reliably. And Neil with a gorgeous rip there. Got that one to turn over. Gave a full flight disc there. He's up towards the basket. And Jacob's trying to go back to his forehand, take that left gap.
Oh, I thought that was in.
Yeah, we all watched that. We're like, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, it looks like Jacob pretty much just gave up that backhand. He's had some inconsistency with it. Mm-hmm. So that forehand is so deadly. And
he's in range from the 300, and so I think that's a safer shot for him as well, even though the hill slopes that way. And Patsy with got the wind taking it from it.
Ooh, wind dropped yours.
Yeah, the wind had a little interaction with it. And
that was a lucky wind on yours.
Yeah, a little high from my end, so not too bad. I'll take the 3. And Richard, we thought was going to scoot away, but he ends up just turning it right back behind the disc or behind the basket there. And Patsy's feeling the putt, right? She's going for it. Surprised it didn't go in.
Oh no! Beautiful drive.
Oh, can't convert on the deuce.
He needed that too.
Yeah, he wanted it. Ooh,
there's a deuce.
Yep, and amateur side, so he got a little lucky there on it, catching that chain, but. We'll take any deuce we can get right.
That's all you need on a beautiful drive like that.
Mm-hmm. Patsy with a good comeback putt. Saving that one.
Cleaning up par there.
So, I'm fine with par on this hole after that first drive. I was way too short, but pretty good scores from us overall. We're all still clumped together pretty close. Richard and myself in the lead with 2 over as we head into hole 6. So this is the other par 4 on the course. And again, it's downhill. It feels really deceptive, but I mean, I don't think I've ever reached this hole. And my max drive is 4, so.
Yeah, a lot of these we call 3.5s. This is closer to 3.5, where hole 1 is really a defined 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, this is a pretty hard 3.5. It looks so easy, but the trees are just barely in play. The sidewalk's barely in play. It's not that far downhill. And with a full rip, it just is way longer than it looks at first.
Yeah, and I know, too, like some tournaments will try to increase the difficulty of this hole by making it an island. So you have to so you can see the sidewalk as it goes around the hole. They'll make that you have to hit into that zone. So like where Jacob lands there on the left side would be considered OB. You'd either go to a drop zone or it'd be a stroke in distance. So just depending on how difficult you want to make it. We are not doing that today. We're playing it casually. So we'll just play the sidewalk as, a river.
Holy cow, a monster skip off that sidewalk. Sent him about 50 feet the wrong way.
So Neil gets a nice low rip from here, and we just saw him throw 300 feet. Like, we just watched him do it, or 280, right? And that throw right there, still short of the sidewalk. Like, that's just to give you some perspective. Like, even me, so someone who can throw a full 400, I thought that was going to hit the tree, and I'm still short by 50, 60 feet. Like,
if not more.
Yeah, I mean, just makes the hole baffles me. Maybe there's some numbers. We need to restep this course. Maybe it's true. 485. Maybe it's closer to that. I don't know.
Ooh, good looking second shot from Patsy there.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Going to be up there, up by your drive.
Yep. I think she's just short of my drive, but a good forehand from her there.
Yeah, she should be able to find a clean 4 in this hole unless she has that deadly 60-foot putt.
Ooh, and that just gets over quickly. I think a little quicker than Jacob wanted, but he's going to be up there. Give himself a putt for 3.
A big drive from Neil there.
Yeah.
Not quite to what we call an island. We're not playing it as so, but the island.
Playing it as an island is very difficult, too, because it feels like a giant island.
That's big distance, man.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's a full rip, and so some people... and he goes off the path again. I think that one was a little more beneficial because it
I think he planned that skip. He didn't plan the first one to put him over there. So, nice approach, still a little short, but that should play.
Playing it safe. And so this is my birdie putt. And
yeah, you're running.
Oh, yeah, sure, why not? And a little short. I threw it in the air, hoping the wind would keep it in the air. But the way I've been putting, it hasn't looked good from distance, so I was just trying to keep it safe.
Yeah, the wind wasn't swirling today, but we had it was definitely shifting by angle, maybe about a 30 or 40 degree window where it was coming from.
Oof. And Richard had a nice putt earlier, and he's got his to go, but Jacob just a touch short. And Patsy with the first putt that's just short from her. She's been so good to start this round. And Neil, smashes it in. So while we clean up our putts, Neil, Richard, and myself all end up with 3 birdies here, while Jacob is in the par. And we head to hole 7 now. We're 350 feet. And again, some of these distances, it doesn't look like it because, that last hole from 460, I would tell you it looks like it's over 400. When I walk up to this one, every single time I'm like, no, there's no way this is 350. Like, in a million years, I will never tell you that this is 350 feet. And then every single time I throw my Destroyer max distance, I'm like maybe 10 feet past it. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's 350 feet, I guess. Like, I just don't, it's very deceptive for me. I don't know why it is.
Yeah, that tree is in a really awkward spot for both backhand and forehand players. It's kind of hard to attack. You really just play for your full flight, flex around.
Which I do there, but it's not the shot I was actually going for.
Yeah, I mean, that was a perfect drive, whether you went forward or not.
Right.
That's what a lot of people will try to do on this hole.
It's a really good oops, is what I'll say. It's a great oops. And Richard with a nice shot himself. I think he's a touch short. I went past the basket. Neil gets a good rip on his.
Someone coming back, it turned way over.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back a little bit. He'll still be short, but it's out there. Should be an easy up and down, hopefully, for his 3. Jacob's really trying to attack it, and I think he was trying to get it there. I think he was trying to give a little more muscle than he normally does.
Yeah, that last putt, last forehand shot turned over right away. I think he tried to give it a little more Anheuser and didn't realize how strong he was.
So Patsy with a nice shot here. Yep, and she's out there.
Big approach shot up from Jacob there.
And he puts himself inside the bullseye. Nice shot from him.
Yeah,
good
gorgeous
backhand from him. And, can't quite sneak past the tree. Big smile on her face. She's like, I should have gone wider.
She can putt from that far out, though. She should be all right.
I mean, based on what we've seen today, absolutely. Neil just a hair short and outside of the right for his birdie. Richard trying to go for his now. Off the top. We are all over the cage as a card. Okay, let's see if Patsy can keep her hot streak putting from 30, 35 feet going. Just hangs it out left. It was the right height, but it was just a little bit left. So I drove mine past about 20 feet.
Rolled it down the chains.
Oh, I'm so mad now.
That had a full second of contact.
Yeah, that didn't feel good. I wanted that one.
You're so close, though. That doesn't take much to tighten up.
Nope, and so we're cleaning up our shots here. So Patsy with an unfortunate 5. She didn't make the comebacker, but Jacob, Neil, Richard, and myself all clean up our 3s there as we're underneath the basket. And we head into hole 8, which is a shared tee pad. So hole 8 goes to the right, 310 feet, very downhill. This tree on the right side does come into play if you try to play the hyzer line. And then you have a sidewalk that's almost immediately behind the basket, probably about 20 feet, I would say, no more than that. So it does come into play, but as long as you're confident with your throw, you should not.
The sidewalk's even closer than that.
Probably
close to 10 or 15 feet. It's really tight back there. You really want to let her drive just a hair short. And then this tee pad is very strange looking. It's a trapezoid shape, long on the front.
Yep.
And I just tee from like a couple feet back so that angle doesn't come into play at all. It really messes with your head.
And so we're getting you from the pin's perspective, and I tried to hyzer mine around, and I hit the one tree that's literally in this fairway.
It's not even in play. What did you do that for?
Well, because it wasn't difficult enough, apparently. So we got one drive now here in the dead center fairway. And this just feels like a hole that you should definitely get. I think this is Neil here with that I think it's a blue Destroyer, but I don't know that for certain. That's a great shot from Richard.
Great distance from Richard. That looks awesome. His drives have been so good today. Little on the short side from Patsy. She kind of threw it down the hill instead of out into space, but that should play fine.
So I'm just going real wide with a putter. I put it inside 15 feet. Take it. Patsy also laying hers up, but she's just a hair short again. I've noticed that, in the early goings here that she's been laying hers up a little shorter, and so I'm wondering how much that wind is making her decide to go a little more cautiously, because as we see, like my early putts were getting picked up by the wind. And
wow, that was a run.
Oh yeah, Jacob was going for it. I think he was floating it enough to where he was confident with it, and oh
no,
just skips up.
Just getting a little frustrated from the past couple missed putts.
After such a hot start, too.
Oh, she was banging them in the first few holes.
That
was incredible.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. So I clean up my 3. I was kind of happy not to walk away with anything worse than that on this hole. Jacob with a nice 3 there. That was a tester putt right there, but he did a nice job with that. Yep, there she goes again.
Come back.
Back to normal. Richard saves his putt, and Neil cleans up his. So through hole 8 now, Patsy with the only 4, Jacob, Neil, Richard, and myself with the 3s. And again, we're still all very close. Richard and I 1 over, Neil and Jacob 3 over. So tight race here. Hole 9 now, 205 feet. You have a tree right off the tee pad that's very close. So backhand players, it comes like your follow through comes into play there. And even for forehand players, it can kind of make you feel a little uncomfortable as you feel like you have to get it tight around the tree. But it's really short, fortunately, so you don't have to really throw the disc to get it there. Just pick your best line and go.
Yeah, it's either a putter shot or you go with old reliable, your skill shot, whatever you feel is most consistent on this strange line.
And you got to be silly earlier, so I got to be silly right there. And I was peeking around the tree. And then I proceeded to throw it not anywhere near that tree.
Yeah, try out your forehand a little more today.
Yeah.
You've been trying to put that more into your bag, incorporate it into your game.
Yep, so I feel like my backhand is... For the level I'm at, right, I'm an AM3 player. I feel like it's pretty solid, and that's a great throw from Jacob there, right at that tree I was peeking around earlier. I feel like my backhand for my level is pretty solid. I really want to incorporate that forehand and give myself some outs on different holes.
Yeah, absolutely. You really just want a playable forehand more so than an excellent forehand because your backhand is so good.
Yeah, like hole 2, for example, if you looked at Ostromo's course, like I'd really love to be able to just forehand that and just give myself a good opportunity for a 2 rather than try to play this like really controlled Anheuser.
Good looking layup from you there, though.
Flip. Oh yeah, another forehand.
You're saving it.
And she kissed the chains. Oh my lord!
That's so far back.
It's crazy. It's like I want to be able to putt like that all the time.
The deuce.
You think she's born with that, or you think she's grinding out hours in the backyard?
Oh, backyard for sure. 100% backyard. And Richard with a gorgeous deuce. Neil with a gorgeous deuce. Jacob now has to match it. And he does beautifully pro side there. Cleans his up. So 3 deuces on this.
Yeah, you're losing a stroke here.
Yeah, well, it's not my home course, so I can let it happen.
That's why.
Sure. So Jacob and Neil, 2 over. Richard is at par now. I'm at 1 over still, and Patsy at 9 over. So here's our first 9 scores. We can see a lot of green there, especially as we headed towards the back 9. We started making adjustments and fixing our shots to make sure we incorporated the wind and stuff, but much better turnaround for us there.
Yeah, Patsy falling a little off the card here, but by far the most impressive round.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's showing us all her assets and skills. Just doesn't have the arm for some of these bigger holes, but she still plays phenomenally there. Her short game is really great. Here in hole 10, 185 feet, it's very similar to hole 9. You just gotta pick your line and throw it. There's really that one guardian tree you see in the very center of the fairway. You just gotta avoid it.
Biggest difference from hole 9 here is that this river is gonna come way super into play.
Yeah, there is a river, yep, on the left side.
It's really tight. It's on the edge of the fairway. There's no, what I would call rough on this hole.
Sure.
There's a little bit on the right, but that's still really safe zone. If you go left at all off the fairway, a foot off the fairway is river.
Yeah, and Neil there kisses the tree, and the shot before with Jacob, we thought was also a race run, so he's been all over the basket just for today.
Yeah, Jacob's got this course figured out. There's your forehand, Zach.
Yeah, and so this is a very soft flick that I thought I controlled, and then we saw that disc pick up and roll immediately to the left.
It was a gorgeous shot, very unlucky roll. You just gotta if you throw those shots more, you'll get that. You'll place your dig a little more and get a skip instead of a cut.
And Patsy's showing us why she's a forehand player. Makes a gorgeous shot around the corner. Yeah, Neil had that unlucky tree, so he had to hit out of this nasty brush, but he's up there now.
189 forehand hole is the Patsy hole.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's Richard. He kept his a little low. You can see he's a little disappointed with that.
I think he was scared of the river. He didn't want to face it at all and pop around.
Could be.
That would hyzer out into the water really fast.
And I kissed the bottom of the basket. I'm really mad taking a 4 on this hole. It's like, especially after how well it felt. I felt like I threw that forehand. I thought I didn't deserve for it to go into the water, but...
I mean, that's a layup from Richard, too. Or from, sorry.
That's from Jake. And Patsy goes deep. Patsy threw it past that one. She was also running that. But Jacob makes the save here.
Nice clean.
Richard also makes a save. I take the 4. I didn't even realize Patsy was behind me. My bad. I'm just like going out of order.
Yeah, Neil with the 4 on that one, a little unfortunate, but he had 2 really brush-heavy shots.
This is an awkward stance. Oh, but she goes bar down.
You mean awkward stance? She bangs those.
My bad, Patsy.
It's a Patsy hole.
My bad. I'm sorry I doubted you. But Jacob there with the deuce, so making up a stroke on the whole card there. So headed into hole 11, we got a real tight race there at the top of the card, and it's 305 feet, slightly uphill, and again, don't go left because that hill goes way down. The slope is awful. Don't go left because it is a crazy difficult upshot from there. So get on top of the hill, stay on the right side, but don't go too far right because there's OB over there too.
Yeah, this is really just kind of a skill testing 300-foot hole. Every course is going to have these. Just a hair uphill, not too steep.
The most difficult part about this hole is that you stand almost still in the woods. So you don't feel any of the wind. And as soon as you get past that cove on the left there, it's wide open.
Yeah, the wind comes right up
immediately.
The hill.
Yeah, it's just like if you don't read it or don't recognize it.
Ooh, I like that one.
And this is a great line from him. It's a hair low, and the grass is a touch long right now. I think it hasn't been mowed too recently, so it just stops.
I thought that was going to hyzer out too.
Hit that dead patch maybe.
He was a little wide.
But that's the right spot though.
I love that low line on this hole, trying to keep it just above there.
And Neil hates it immediately out of his hand. Knew exactly that he let that go down.
Didn't get enough chunk off that he's still on top of the hill though. He's not going to be in the trough.
Yeah, he's not going to be all the way down the hill. And I'm not going to lie, this came out of my hand. It felt okay. I have no idea. Don't ask me how that worked.
Beautiful attack.
I have no idea how that happened. I thought for sure I was going into the cove. Somehow it magically landed on top of the hill. I don't know what happened, but I'll take it.
Come on, Skip. Oh, she didn't quite get enough on that.
She needed to throw that a little higher. And again, the wind's kind of coming into play here as we come into the more open holes here, these next 3. And that's looking real nice.
Beautiful approach for that 3.
And that is a difficult approach because you have to go over the crest of that hill first and then get it, read the distance.
Yeah, that crest is so tall that he's almost playing that blind.
Yeah, he is almost. I mean, that's how extreme the elevation changes for sure.
That's a run.
Yep.
Little baby run.
Yep. I think he wanted to give a little bit more. I think the wind was slightly to his back too. So, here's Richard again going with his forehand from baby distance.
Yeah, very, very unique approach.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
I haven't either, but it works for him. I mean, he's close.
He's so consistent.
Yeah. That's what you're comfortable with. And I would say that for all, especially new players and players that are playing AM4 and AM3, it's like play with what you're comfortable with. Like, no, you're not Paul Macbeth. You're not other big stars.
You're not Patsy.
Yeah, you're not Patsy. Don't putt like them because it's going to be really hard to do that. So I actually walked away with a deuce there. Super stoked about that. Able to get that stroke back from that previous hole. Oh, what a disaster. And headed into hole 12. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You were here on this course. You actually recorded this.
Yeah,
this looks phenomenal. Thank you so much,
Dylan. Wow, thanks.
But I'm pretty sure when you read off the card, I think online it told us it was like 3-something.
Yeah, and 245 seems a little short for this. 300 seems a little long. I don't know.
We don't know. And we're going to prove to you that 240 is closer to his range. I would probably say it's 265, 280.
Yeah,
But here's why. Okay, so I grabbed this disc because I thought we said like 320 or something like that. So I grabbed my destroyer and I was trying to go out on hyzer. I was not trying to do a full flex, and it hits the pole, like the line there, the electrical line, and then hits into that pine tree, which is pin high. And I mean, if it hadn't hit that pine tree, I'm in the highway, which is 150 feet past the basket. Like, what?
Yeah, it looks like that highway is close, but it's really not quite in play. 100 feet at least away from the basket.
Oh, yeah.
It'd take a bomb to get there.
Well, it was a bomb.
Well, yeah.
Neil with a nice-looking line, just a hair short, and Jacob earlier throwing a nice forehand, going back to what he's good at, and putting it in that inside that circle there.
So consistent. Just so clean with that forehand.
And Richard throws this one out wide. And Richard and I were talking about this earlier because I played this course and one of the holes got shut down. I think it was hole 9. So we played this hole twice. And it was really weird because we were talking about, I was like, this is probably one of the most open holes on the course. Like, this is very straightforward, low hyzer, throw it right at those first 2 big pine trees and let it come back. And for some reason, even though that fits right into our repertoire of skills, we can't seem to do it, like, to save our lives.
Yeah, I really like that drive from Patsy, too. That was a lot more distance than I think a few of our other drives were.
Yeah.
It looked really good.
Good rip.
Good upshot. Banging out par for easily.
You can see Richard here. He did the same thing. He picked a discs. He's a little past the basket, and, ooh, that hill came into play. He didn't get it quite low enough, so he goes past it.
He just didn't read that shot very well. I think that forehand went exactly where he wanted it, but I don't think he knew where he wanted it.
It was just, yeah, a little, and I don't know, I can't remember where the wind was coming from. It looks like...
I think it's coming up the hill.
Up the hill? Okay.
Yeah, from Richard's back in that shot.
Yep. And so maybe when he threw that forehand too, it might have picked it up
a little bit.
Yeah, kept it in the air a little longer as well. Kind of hard to remember when it's a week later. Hey, look, Patsy made a putt.
Yeah. It's a nice clean 3. Big 2 from Jacob. This is surprisingly hard 2-hole.
Yeah, it is. It should be easy. And I think the higher level players make it a pretty doable 2, but for some reason it's easy to make it a worse than that. But hole 13 now, 245. Also, I would say this is slightly shorter than that, but it's super downhill. This is an ace runnable hole. However, depending on the tournament, there's a river behind it. They might play it that the river and past it is OB. So it's super, super easy. The basket is sitting 4 feet away from the edge of the river. And so you can attack it all you want, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to go over. But if you go over right next to the basket, then it's an easy 3.
Yeah, and then the layup in this hole, it's so easy to lay up like 40 feet short.
He's going...
Ooh, a little bit fast of a pan. I think it was the wrong disc choice on that overhand shot, but I really like the selection here.
So you can see how soft Neil is even throwing it, and it has this big glide to it, but he's throwing it very soft. He's safe on the left, which is where a lot of people go. Patsy going forehand, so must be going a little more aggressive here, and... Oh, I thought that was going to hold that line a little longer. She will be safe on the right side, probably 20 feet short of the water.
Oh, no, the wind just turned that over. That looked like a beautiful shot out of his hand. I thought that was going towards the basket.
Yep, so he's in the thick of stuff over on the right side, but he is safe. He's short of the river. And I've played this course before, and I know I won't lose my disc if it goes to the river, so I was like, ace run. Go for it.
It's either a 1 or a 3.
Yep, it's 1 or 3, because it's not going to be anything else.
Nothing wrong with a 3 on this hole.
Ooh, and Jacob with a good half run there. Kind of a death putt situation going on, but nice layup there, kind of a half run. And Richard kind of got stuck in a big old mess of stuff, so a good out from him. Puts himself outside. Give him a death putt, but he'll have a putt. And
stay up, no!
A little hard skip. I think he hit a little patch of those wood chips or whatever that is right there. And, ooh, Patsy making a good run.
I think she
there.
got a little spooked by the river there. It's so close to the basket.
Oh, wow. And Richard with a death putt and just smashes it in. Good on his end.
Oh, Patsy's way out, too.
Yeah, she made a run at it.
Oh, little guest cameo appearance from Donut.
Yeah, there's Donut. He's going to get my disc for me. As we clean up our putts here.
Let's see what Patsy's got from distance.
She's right in that range again, probably almost 30 feet. And that,
close. Perfect line.
Yeah, you can see it come out of her hand. It came out just a slight fluff in her hand, and she might have lost it just at the very end there. But a good run. She's still all over that basket. Great putting from her. We are now headed into hole 14, and at this point, when we checked the card, we were all like real tight. So we kind of announced scores here at this
Four
point.
people within a stroke or two.
Yeah, so we announced that to everyone. We're like, okay, let's put some pressure on us. Let's the home course people kind of get a little nervous about me being there. Try to get a little more competitive. And so it was really good. 190 feet, really straightforward. You want something stable, nothing that'll flip over too fast. Throw it in that right gap, let it scoot towards the basket.
Yeah, backhand slight flex shot, which it's tough to flex at 190.
There is a forehand line.
It's really wide, though.
It is. If you can get a disc to kind of like put it on an anhyzer and then let it, flex back, there is a forehand line. So this is also a Patsy hole where if she goes after the line. I can't remember if she does or not. And Jacob and I go left. Richard goes short, but in the center.
I love Richard's shot. Richard's making a lot of really smart choices on this course.
You can tell he plays league
Every
here.
single drive is just so consistent and so safe.
Well played,
but he still chunks off distance.
Yep.
He's not laying up, but he's making safe shots.
Yep. If he was 5 feet higher off the ground, he'd be parked. And so there's Patsy trying to go for that left line. Makes a pretty good attempt at it, just a hair short. And I'm a good, I don't know, almost 60 feet. There I am again on cage. Don't.
That was so close from big distance.
I had this vision of what happened at Coldbrook, and I was like, let's do it again. And then.
I actually like that shot from you.
Sure.
What do we got? Neil from way back?
And right after we talked about us being that close, I was like, I have to run this. Like, I can't just choose to lay this up. I have to run it now.
Well, that run was really a layup because it's so close. When you're hitting metal, it's a layup.
Yeah. And Richard just a touch short, and Patsy kisses off the right side of the chains there.
Was that her drive way up there, though?
Yep. So really nice drive from her. And, off the cage for her as well. That's really unfortunate. And Jacob as well. I think he just didn't take it with enough focus there and just misses off to the left there. So taking a look at the scores here on hole 14. So he's at a 4 along with Patsy, while Neil, Richard, and myself all take the pars.
We need some deep breaths, and that hole turns into 2s and 3s really quickly.
Headed into hole 15. Now, this is probably the most deceptive, difficult hole you'll have. There's some guardian trees, the big sloping hill, the basket's on the other side. So, all of that's difficult. But the hill itself is what can kill you. Even though there's these barriers, these logs on the left side, you'd probably have to dig out another 6 inches along them to, make them actual barriers.
So if we're not just talking about distance, there's some very big lengths on this course.
Uh-huh.
If we're not talking about distance, this is by far the hardest hole.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, a 4 is
very
fine
tough
here.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Every single throw is a cut roll or a skip, and everything goes downhill.
So, there's mine. I went left, and I thought that disc was going to come back, and it did not. And there's Richard, and he had his on a good line, hit the last tree, but he's in the fairway. There's Jacob, and he is going to join me. Same kind of thing.
That's way down in the trough.
And it feels like you want to go for it. I feel like the smartest play is actually just to not go for it. I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel like if I was in a tournament and I was contending for the top card there, I'd just play it right into that first hill.
Is there a play where you go up on top of the hill and then throw down to try to get a 3?
Maybe, but I feel like getting to the top of the hill is also equally difficult.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
There's so many trees.
So there's throw from Patsy. She's back out into the fairway.
Come on, Jacob. Let's get up the hill. Up the hill?
And he's up the hill. He hit the top of the hill. There's a roller, and this is where the hill comes into play.
Jacob, what are you doing?
All the way down the hill.
What are you doing, Jacob?
That is not what we drew up.
He was all the way on top on the other side of the fairway.
He was. And
the roll was farther than his shot.
It was. You're correct. So even here, so we see this happen. I'm down at my disc right there, and I'm watching it happen. It hits, it scoots just past the barrier, tips up, and then rolls down the hill.
Jacob, no.
Yes.
Not again.
Yes, Jacob.
You can't do this to me. Oh. Two really good-looking shots. The drive wasn't great, but 2 really good-looking approach shots that just got punished.
Hits the last tree, and it rolls. Yeah, just awful. And I was not dealing with it. I was like, here's an open line. Just throw it up the open line.
Attempt number 3
and
from the trough looks
beautiful.
That would have been a crazy 4.
I would have loved to have made. So, here's Richard. His he was landing flat and almost puts this in. So there's his really good run there for that forehand.
Yeah, these locals are...
Patsy just off the top of the basket.
No, stop, please.
Stop.
There it goes.
Oh, and you can see us all watching it.
Oh.
I'm surprised I'm not waving. I usually wave at those. Oh, and Neil, who had the best drive of us all, put himself in a spot for a deuce, and just leaves it just short. But at least it didn't go down the hill.
Oh, Patsy's just getting spooked.
Yeah. It's the fourth person now.
So discouraged from that putt that went off the cage and then finishes like outside circle 2.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
This definitely, I feel like if you're like a higher level player, so even AM2 to a degree, like, high level AM2, AM1, I feel like this hole is probably very easy because you can just thread the line and just read it very well. But like for us,
it's
at
so
AM3,
tight.
yeah, it's very tight, and then just our technical abilities, it's hard to sit the disc without causing a roller, and so there's evident.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard to scramble from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hole 16 now, 320 feet. It looks, you can't really see the base of the basket, so it looks like this hill makes it way worse than it is, when the reality is you can throw the hyzer and just attack this hill because it's not going to go skipping 1,000 feet to the left because of the grass. So really, if you have the distance for it, attack this basket.
Especially the bullseye here is kind of on a shelf. There's like this built-in plateau almost.
Yep.
So if you park it, it'll really stop.
And this is me trying to work on my forehand a little bit more. I also was trying to like kind of gauge what my distance is at. I crank it over on the left side a little bit, but sneak past the trees, and I'm out there probably 250. So well short, but
I mean, that's a really good confidence building forehand from you. You've kind of struggled with that over the past year.
Yeah.
With especially your confidence, not necessarily your forehand, but the confidence on your forehand you've struggled with.
So I'm trying to get that back and trying to get a little bit more distance on it as well. And there's Richard, and he gets his
big turnover, no fade.
Yeah, we were all a little surprised by it. I think he was telling us just to get going. It just never did. And here's Jacob. He's taking Richard's line, but he hits that tree and lands short.
He's got to go back to that forehand, man. I think he's got the distance for that.
I think for this hole he does. I think the branches, so Patsy threw, and she's just short of those branches. I think those branches for Jacob, I think he has to go through those to get this distance, though. So I think he was trying to go backhand, because his backhand's strong enough, but I think he just put it in the wrong spot. So there's Patsy, and bad roll, stop. Okay, cool. But that's right in her range.
She's really feeling that last hole, though. I think she's getting discouraged, even though that shot was pretty good.
Jacob with an okay layup there, a little short. And
big run.
Yeah, my mind was saying big run, and before I threw there, you could see Niels laying on top of the hill. But I was thinking big run, but at the same time I was like, I needed this to be safe, and I think I just shortchanged it. But it was a good line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's Richard for his deuce look. And,
that would have been so big.
Good look. Good height. Just a touch off. Oh, and Patsy just outside, but good height.
She's getting so frustrated, but she's like outside the circle.
Yeah.
That's a huge putt.
I mean, she's already made, however, 5 of them today.
Yeah,
Her putting's been so good. I think that's just part of her too, like the expectation for that to go in. She's been doing so well. And Neil can't buy the 2. You can see his reaction there. Just a touch short.
Yeah, Patsy starts really feeling it here.
Good finish from Richard. So as we're coming across this hole at the end of hole 16, Richard is at 2 over, I'm at 1 over, Jacob at 3 over, Neil at 5, and Patsy at 17. Still got a tight race there in the front as we head in the last 2 holes. And with hole 17, anything can happen. Got the river behind it, got the sidewalk in front of it, got a couple guardian trees depending on how you're attacking the hole. This can get away from a lot of people quickly.
Yeah, there's 3 really clean lines. You can go dead center, which is really dangerous, really. But you really want to pick right or left and then don't come close.
Yep. Really throw hyzer.
This is the other shared tee pad, right? This is the left side of the shared?
It is. This is the left side of hole 8. So if you see other people throwing there, it's because they're on 8. And you can see it here. There's the front of the trapezoid. So hole 8 on the right. And so I will state about this. That is a 175. You can see me reacting. It's a 175 destroyer. It's the first destroyer I ever got back in 2011. And up until this year, every time it comes out of my hand, it goes immediately left. And this year it stopped doing that. So I threw that, and I was like, perfect line, what I wanted.
And then just finally had enough, huh?
It's like, nope, I'm going straight. You taught me a lesson.
Yep, 1 too many trees.
And Richard had a great hyzer line, but he threw his a little too far out.
Big forehand from Jacob. That's what we like to see. Yes.
This is the one he can attack.
Come on.
And it's just a touch short. That path kind of scooted him off to the right, but he's He's there for a putt.
After looking at that, I don't know why he wasn't doing that all day. That was so good.
His forehand is really, really
just
good.
Just absolutely deadly.
And Neil put himself way out to the right as well. This is looking nice.
That's a big crank from Patsy.
She's put herself between those two trees, so this will be fine.
Yeah, she got a little bit of height on from the tee pad there and got some pretty big distance.
And that disc you see right there, so I was still working on my forehand here, and I was trying to... That's actually a great run. She put herself inside the circle.
Oh, dude, that was almost in the basket.
You can see it right there. Holy smokes. So we're all throwing it from here, and that felt like it was on line, could have gone in, and hit the last branch you can't hit.
We'll take the 3 there.
Richard feeling the pressure. I think he was trying to get that stroke back from me, so he makes a run.
Yeah, interesting he went backhand on that one instead of that forehand layup shot.
Yeah, I think he's more consistent in smashing from the backhand, but I think the forehand is a more consistent. Like, it goes where it lays up, it's not going to be too far away.
Right, inside the bullseye, but never at the basket.
Yep. Which makes sense. I mean, thinking about it, it makes sense to do stuff like that to play safe. And I think it slipped out of his hands with just a touch, early release. So he goes left. He's going to take a 4 here. And so he will lose that stroke, and I will be at 1 over. Richard and Jacob will be at 3 over, tied for second, and Neil at 5 over, Patsy at 17 over. And we head into hole 18 as a little black squirrel runs across the screen. 230, really narrow, slightly uphill, but it feels still very short. Just use the hill to prevent you from going anywhere too dangerous. But left side, really steep hill. Like, don't go too far left because you have to go back up the hill again. We did it on hole 15 or whatever.
Yeah, there's a cliff there. It's really steep and really harsh.
Disaster. And it goes towards the river.
Doesn't come quite as into play as it does in hole 15. You don't get spit out down the hill, but it's very dangerous if you get over there. This is really a skill testing hole. 250 within everyone's range.
Yep.
But this is kind of what we're used to at our home course of Ashtamo. It's just a hole that looks really unassuming, and then all of a sudden you get up to it, and there's just a tree at every single point.
And Neil was, I don't think he was trying to go to the right side, but he threw it. It was going to go around those, and then didn't quite make it.
Jacob cranked all the way over on that one. Horrible drive. Bounces off an early tree and spits out right towards the basket.
As soon as it started going that direction, every single one of us were like, go in. Like, let this be like, oops, an ace.
The first ace from Crew 42 is horrible drive off a tree.
It would have been great. So Richard hits that same tree Neil did. I feel like that's an easy tree to hit, too, because you're trying to hug that line.
Yeah, you really don't want to go left of the fairway.
Yeah.
So we're all trying to play right of fairway.
Yep. But it opens up here once you have to take your second shot. So he's using the space here.
There's that forehand layup we're used to.
Yep, nice skip shot.
Right in the bullseye?
Yep.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I wish I could do that.
That was attacking, too.
Yep. Gets a last tree there to block her. And I did not want to deal with this hill. I had this really tight gap. I was like, just putt it, let it sit underneath the basket.
It's a really pretty layup from you.
Yeah, I was not dealing with it. Thank you. And Neil, kind of a half run there. And okay, good. Didn't go downhill. Thank goodness.
Big upshot from Jacob.
That's the
second. That was his drive.
That was his drive.
It attacked the basket, hit a tree, and rolled down.
Yes,
you didn't really see that roll.
I forgot about that, but he's fallen victim to the roller again.
Patsy almost went down the hill.
She's sitting on top of that crest, yep. But that's our third tree that she hit on this hole, so she's really just unlucky coming to the end of the course. And
she's attacking really well, but just not quite finding those lines, getting some frustration in the back nine. Starting to miss some putts.
Especially, and she's showing a little, maybe she planned for that.
That was a trick shot.
Yeah, well, obviously, right. Well played, Patsy. Trick shot of the night. So there's our final scores there for the 18th hole there. Neil with an unfortunate 4. Jacob, Richard, and myself were able to walk away with the 3s. And so here's our back 9 scores, a lot less green. Just Jacob and myself with the green on the beginning of this course. And it was just brutal. Like
Jacob killing the birdies, but then he got that 5 in there. It kind of ruined his beautiful back 9.
So here's our total 18 here. Not too bad. I mean, par is 57. So I was okay with it. Or no, par is 56, excuse me. So I was okay with the 1 over. Last time I played this course, I was like 11 over, so much improved.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool course where you've got some big, open, grassy distance shots. And then you also have some of the really tight 200-foot wooded shots, and you really have to flex all aspects of your game.
Yeah.
It doesn't test one little part. It's not big bombs all day.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing on this course is a lot of people start on hole 12, which is right next to the parking lot.
Yep.
And that allows you to play a bunch of short distance holes, get a nice warm-up in, play, 7 holes, and then go to the big 600-foot hole 1.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to start out
It's
on,
awful.
Especially if you get out of the car and just throw like we usually do.
Yeah, and we didn't warm up today, so we definitely were feeling that for sure. Or at least I was. Maybe they weren't. Richard almost took a 3, so Richard was ready. But thanks again, Donut, for joining us today. It was great to feature Begg Park, and you did a phenomenal job recording, so thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for the channel for future videos. Check out our Facebook page as well, and this has been Crew 42, and we are out.